How can you lead and be smarter today than you were yesterday? Watch this video to learn how. If you like this topic, please let me know in the comments. If you don't like it, or you'd rather see another topic, please let me also know in the comments with what you would prefer to see instead of this kind of a video. So the fundamental thing that allows you to be smarter today than you were yesterday, that allows any human brain to be better tomorrow than it is today, is to learn continuously. Now, there's some things specifically. It isn't just learning anything, though anything is better than nothing. Some specific conditions which really help. But let's just see, is this just some crazy theory of mine, or is it something else? Well, Bill Gates reads extensively. Warren Buffett apparently reads hundreds of pages a day. And Elon Musk, his brother, said that if you asked Elon how he learned the engineering of rockets, because he was not trained, he was trained as an engineer, but not as a rocket or aerospace engineer, I don't think. His brother said he would answer quietly, I read a lot of books. So that's obviously a great place to start. And the accessibility these days is off the charts, especially with things like Kindles and that. But I find what works best by far is to listen to books, because you can do other mundane tasks while listening to books. It changed me from a 12 book a year person to a 50+ book a year person, not because I'm special, but because I have at least 8 or so hours every week where I'm walking to the store, doing dishes, exercising, or some other activity. You can do the same. On those activities where it's safe for you to do it, you can be listening to a book and have your phone read your books to you. So that's an awesome opportunity there. So that's one of the best ways to continuously learn. Now I'm going to give you something that's sort of a special tip, or an important tip, and that is seek to feel dumb. I don't mean make yourself feel dumb so you feel bad, but learn at a level and learn topics that you don't know enough about, so that you feel a little dumb or a little ignorant of it because you don't know those topics, or you don't have the depth of understanding of those topics for the level you're reading. So you want to be reading certainly above what's comfortable, and ideally as high as you possibly can, and still understand most of it, but have to struggle to do so, to understand most of it or all of it, but that you have to work hard to do so. That's what I mean by feeling dumb, is just learning things that are challenging for you at your level. So another way to think of this is to think of this as how it would challenge your beliefs. That is, what you learn, does it challenge your beliefs? Does it challenge your current understanding, or does it challenge your ability, your capacity to understand? Those would be good indicators that you're learning at the level which is like lifting a heavy weight. If it's not challenging, your brain doesn't adapt. It doesn't myelinate the same way as if you're doing something that's challenging. If it's easy, if you already know it, it's not learning at all. So if you feel smart every time you learn something, then you're learning the wrong things in the wrong way. The other thing is that you don't necessarily have to do things like read books, which is a type of intentional continuous learning. And all learning ideally should be something that's done daily. The reason is that's like anything else, that's sort of what your brain likes. It forms habits. It becomes easier and more natural for you to do that. But also because the volume, the amount of learning you can do by doing it daily. Now, besides this happening intentionally with things like listening to books and other taking lessons or whatever thing that sort of is your jam and stretches your abilities, The other one is to do it automatically. If you are in certain fields, you might be forced by the very nature of your job or your career or your leadership position to learn automatically. That's cool. If you aren't getting learning automatically, strive to learn intentionally. Because as soon as you stop learning, if you look at somebody who's a longtime craftsman or tradesman, they're probably maybe the best person anybody knows and the most knowledgeable person in that thing. But if they haven't learned anything new, their brain is kind of flabby for learning new things because it's out of practice. It's not their fault, it's natural, but it is their choice. Another technique you can use, which is kind of really, it just comes out of the fact that Audible Plus or Audible Premium Plus, which I listen to all the time, gives you free books in addition to paid books. So old books that are no longer popular or selling, you can listen to them. And there's lots of fantastic older books. By learning some books which are out of date, and I'm talking about learning more than necessarily stories. There's nothing wrong with stories or fiction, but are they teaching you something? If they're teaching you something, they're totally on board for this kind of an activity to make your brain better and to keep your brain fit. If not, they aren't. They're just recreational. They're like intellectual junk food in a sense. But I just read a book from 1989, and it was Innovation in Entrepreneurship by Peter Drucker. Lots of the stuff sit in there about innovation because that's an area I've been in for a long time. It was totally true and was totally enlightening. And what was also interesting, though, is the things, the predictions and sort of the biases and other things that I saw that may or may not be true. I don't have the facts to verify it, but it's sort of like, you know, he was a visionary, he was brilliant, but he was still human. And that's really informative too. But the vast majority of lessons in that book are totally valid today. So that kind of learning is good too, because it also gives you that perspective of what did the visionaries of the past, the experts of the past say, and how has that come to pass? All that said, focusing on learning some old or some older information, some older learning or timeless learning, learning new information, the most up-to-date information about the things you want to learn about is even better, because that novelty means you're going to be in that dumb zone, that zone where you don't know it yet at all. But let's add to that, one of the ways to stay in the much new zone, in the dumb zone, is to be seeking to learn things you have never learned anything about before. So that's diversity in learning. And that also is very powerful in terms of innovation, in terms of stimulating your brain. Novel environments, you put rats in basically a rat playground as opposed to a boring cage. Their cortexes get thicker. They become more intelligent rats. And we become more intelligent hairless apes by doing the same thing. The more you do it, the longer you do it, the more consistently you do it in your life, that at least your capacity and your potential to be smarter, better, more agile into extreme old age is greatly enhanced by doing that. That's it for this episode, which has been how to be smarter than you were yesterday. Crush It Club 97. My name is Tim B. Green. Bye for now.